Welcome, lover. I'm the Naughty Scribe, author, businesswoman, and your host for the next hour. This live stream is dedicated to love, sex, acceptance, and understanding the lifestyle and ultimate sensuality. Trust me, lover, the knowledge I drop will be straight, no chaser. So sit back and prepare yourself. It's about to get naughty. Welcome, lover. I'm the Naughty Scribe, author, businesswoman, and your host for the next hour. This live stream is dedicated to love, sex, acceptance, and understanding the lifestyle and ultimate sensuality. Trust me, lover, the knowledge I drop will be straight, no chaser. So sit back and prepare yourself. It's about to get naughty. Welcome, lover. I'm the Naughty Scribe, author, businesswoman, and your host for the next hour. This live stream is dedicated to love, sex, acceptance, and understanding the lifestyle and ultimate sensuality. Trust me, lover, the knowledge I drop will be straight, no chaser. So sit back and prepare yourself. It's about to get naughty.
Welcome, lovers. This is the Nyce Naughtie Hour, and once again, I'm your hostess, the Naughty Scribe. Now, tonight's show is going to be about emotional maturity and awareness in order to have great sex. Now, let's be honest about this. Sex is not just about peg A fitting into slot B. It has a lot to do with how you feel about yourself and what you're looking for from someone else. And it's not just about the orgasm, though trust and believe a fluffy sister loves to get off. But there's a whole lot more to having good sex. And last week we talked mostly about owning your own happiness. Basically, if shit's not working out in your life, before you look at the man, before you look at what someone else is doing or your environment or blaming your mama and your daddy, you need to take a look at you first. What decisions you're making, why you're making those decisions, what do you think you're going to get out of those decisions? And let's be honest, if you keep getting the same fucked up result, then maybe you keep making the same fucked up decision and you need to stop that shit. I'm not saying it's always easy to do. Sometimes doing what is best for ourselves is the hardest thing to do. And that then comes into owning it, because sometimes if you can't change it, you have to accept it, learn to deal with it, tweak it, make it work for you, and keep it moving. So with that said, we're going to jump into our first segment tonight.
What the fuck? What the fuck?
Okay, so my lovers, as you know, a lot of times I sit down with my group and, my friends and some hardcore supporters, and we talk about, hey, Jeremy just shared the video. Love you, boo. You know that we talk about different things, and sometimes we go, hey, wait a minute. That's a cool subject. We need to discuss it. Sometimes these topics come about because people send me emails, and I'm like, you know what? This needs to be addressed. Other times, like tonight, it's a combination of both and what actually happened to me that made me go, maybe me and my lovers need to have a little talk here, okay? So let me give you the rundown. Okay. Several weeks ago, you guys know I was going through some issues with my house, which is why a fluffy bitch has been absent for a minute. Well, while I was out, I met a new potential playmate. Okay, yes, I know I already have a long list, but hey, you can never have too many good lovers. That being said, This one is not up to par. And I don't even know what he looks like naked. And here's why. He approached me in a very charming, friendly, seductive way. It piqued my interest. We exchanged cards. We text each other for a little while. We had maybe one or two conversations. But I started noticing a pattern. Here's what happened. A couple of weeks after we were texting each other and sending each other little quick notes because we both are very busy, his birthday was coming up on a Sunday. So on a Saturday, because that was just happened to be my free day to run errands and do some things, I said, you know what? Boo Boo's birthday is on Sunday. I may not get a chance to talk to him. Let me go ahead and wish him a happy birthday. So I sent him a nice little cute birthday text. I called him, left him a voice message saying happy birthday. And then he actually returned my call while I was out with family, and we chatted for a little while, and I wished him a happy birthday again. Now remember, this was the day before his birthday. Was this on a Saturday? His birthday was actually on Sunday. And I made the mistake of saying, well, if I get a chance to, I'll wish you happy birthday on your birthday. But if not, at least I wanted to make sure you knew I thought about you. And that was it. Now remember, the day before his birthday, on 3 separate occasions, I wished him a happy birthday. Hey, Miss Carrie. Carrie Gross has joined us on Facebook Live. You know, I shout out my lovers that tune in. Okay, so that was done. Well, on his birthday, I was busy doing stuff. I didn't hear from him. He didn't hear from me. Monday, we're both working. It's, hey, good morning. How's your day? Fine. And we keep it moving. Again, we're both kind of busy and we're doing what we have to do. 2 days later, I get a call saying, so what happened Sunday? What do you mean what happened Sunday? Well, Sunday was my birthday. You didn't call and wish me happy birthday. You said you were going to call me. Okay, well, I was a little busy. I figured you were with family as well. Besides, I did call you and I wished you happy birthday. Yeah, but that wasn't actually on my birthday, and you said you were going to call me on my birthday. Now, please keep in mind, lovers, I had only met this fool a couple of weeks prior to that. And I do mean only a couple of weeks. We hadn't gone out. We hadn't had coffee. We hadn't hugged, kissed, smelled each other, nothing. We exchanged cards. He saw something he liked. We exchanged information. And basically, we had been texting each other off and on for several weeks. We only actually had 3 conversations. The last one was the killer for me, but I digress. So, again, he's going on and on and on about, well, you could at least brought me a cupcake. A cupcake? Wait a minute. Whoa, wait a minute. Let's press pause for a second, lovers. 1, you're still a stranger to me. We haven't had a chance to get to know each other. 2, I don't owe you anything. We're not in a relationship. We haven't even gone to coffee, and we don't work that far from each other. I don't owe you anything. Again, he's caught all up in his feelings. Next thing I know, the next serious conversation we have on the phone is, well, you know, you're older. Now, mind you, he's only 2 years younger than me. You know, you like being alone. You're comfortable. You don't need anybody. I'm like, I like having a relationship, but no, you're right. I'm complete. I don't need someone to make me happy. I would like someone to share my life and be happy with. There's a difference. Well, you just won't put in, because you're older and you're set in your ways, warning bell, set in your ways, and you're comfortable being alone, and you're so busy and you're into this and that, you won't put in the time and effort it takes for a real relationship. Okay. Had to clock a brother. And I let him know quick, fast, in a hurry. 1, I don't know what bitch broke your heart, but I ain't her, and I'm damn sure not going to do the time for her crime. Deal with me, not with who you think I am, or who you hope I'm not going to be, or who you used to deal with. I am the only person like me that you are going to meet. Deal with me just like I'm only going to deal with you. Now, by this time, I've chatted with some of my guy friends, and they're all saying the same thing. Weak ass, needy male, drop them. I'm like, now you guys know, I don't like to just kick people to the curb, because when I do it, it's done. There's no coming back. I'm not doing the back and forth. When I'm done, I'm done. So before I get there, I like to at least give you a chance to show me that this is maybe not you. Maybe you're having a bad moment. Maybe something's going on since we really haven't had a chance to talk with each other. Seriously, spend time getting to know each other. We keep saying we want to. We keep telling each other what our attractions are to each other, but we have not yet had a chance to sit down really and just get to have a serious face-to-face conversation. Well, that shit went out the window last weekend. He calls me. I'm busy. I'm going somewhere with my mom. You know how I am. My mom's my heart. She's my road dog. We get in the car when she bored and ain't got nothing to do, and I'm bored and need something to do. We get in the car. We hit a casino. We go see family. We go cut up. But that's how me and my mom roll. And a couple of my aunties, they ride shotgun. So I was doing the gray hair gang thing, having fun, cutting up, going to go pick up my mom. I get a call. He's into, well, you say I don't put in the effort. I didn't answer your question, what question it was. Well, here's what happened. After another little text back and forth, I said, I'm starting to sense a trend here. Everything about you is gimme, gimme, gimme. You haven't done this for me. I want. I said, you know what? I have yet to hear you say what you're bringing to the table for me. What is it that you can do for me? Well, I always got your back. How do you always have my back? You've never had to have my back. You've never done anything for me. And to be honest with you, boo-boo, I didn't even know you existed until you approached me several weeks ago. And I'm not saying that to be cruel, but our world is made up of our close friends, our coworkers, people we worship with, people we love, and incidental people that come into our lives at different times. That's our world. And each world connects with another world, which makes a society. That's how it works. So it is not unfair of me to say that you didn't exist in my world because I didn't know you. And here's the flip side. Once this is over, you still won't exist in my world because I won't have anything to do with you. So I digress. We're talking, we're having this back and forth. He proceeds to armchair analyze me, to tell me I'm super sensitive because I will not be condescended to tell me what kind of person I am. Mind you, we haven't even had a serious conversation because we haven't been able to connect. At that point, it was, well, wait a minute. All I'm hearing is, I want, you're not doing enough for me. But if I say good morning to you, that's effort on your part. Now, I'm sorry, that's a weak-ass male game. You want maximum benefit for the minimum amount of effort, and I'm supposed to roll over for that? Hell no. Understand something, sweetheart, and guys, you really do need to pay attention to this. If you are the one that is approaching the young lady, you are basically saying, hey, you don't know me, but I think you want to get to know me. I would like to get to know you and maybe see if I can become an important part of your life, whether it's a friend, lover, or more. That is what you're putting out there when you first approach a young woman. Ladies, like me, we're the same way. You see a guy you like, you want to tell him you're attracted to him, you want to see where it rolls. Same rule applies to you. You are the one approaching them. They didn't know anything about you. You didn't exist. So it's not unfair for him not to be the one chasing you if you're the one to introduce yourself to him. Find out his interests. Talk to him. Get to know him. Get to know her. Put in the effort. The onus is on the one that approached, not the one being approached. Until we reach a certain comfort level, a certain understanding, it is not an equal give and get. Just because you pass me your phone number does not obligate me to anything. And yes, the brother found that out quick, fast, and hurry because I dropped his ass and put him on block. I'm telling one of my girlfriends about this, and she tells me about her situation with a new male. And the first thing, and Jacob and our new guy is going to hate me for this one, but I love you. But I couldn't understand. I love a man who's sensitive, who's understanding. But damn, where the fuck did these weak-ass males come from? And I don't mean weak as in not strong. I mean emotionally needy as hell. When you have to affirm your intention or your appreciation for someone 24/7, 7 days a week, it is draining as hell. So while me and my group were having this little talk, a theme kept popping up. And that's why we're having this discussion tonight. We spend a lot of time pursuing physical love, emotional love, or what we think is emotional love, and sexual love. We don't spend enough time understanding our own emotional maturity, our own emotional awareness, because that plays a lot into our romantic love and our sexual love. Because one thing I was surprised to find out by talking to a couple of mental health professionals is that our emotional health is a big indicator and almost mirrors in a lot of ways our expectations and the way we treat other people. We see the world through our emotions. And we're going to get more into that after we take a quick break. Welcome back, lovers. This is the Nyce Naughtie Hour. I'm your host, Sister Naughtie Scribe. And tonight our show is about emotional maturity and wellness in order to have good sex, great sex, actually. How does this play into each other? Okay. If you are an emotional basket case, what you are looking for in sexual love is to fulfill those emotional needs. Sometimes a hard dick is just a hard dick. It has no conscience. And here's another thing. Sometimes it has no heart. Same thing with a wet pussy. It just needs to be taken care of. It's not looking for the white picket fence. It's not looking for a trip down the aisle. Sometimes sex is just that, a biological, physical need. We all have it. I'm not judging who you have it with, because goodness knows, I've done it with female, male, and multiples for multiple years. Y'all know how I roll. This is a swinger show where we talk about a lot of shit, and I'm open about it. But that being said, lovers, you do often need to check yourself. One of the things you need to really be clear on is what kind of emotional type you are. Because if you are, for instance, a empath or someone who is a little more on the needy side, maybe you shouldn't hook up with someone who is more of a intellectual emotional type, meaning that mostly, not everything, but most of the things they look at through life is through a logical, practical vein. They have a tendency to kick emotion to the side and just deal with the facts. Where you, as an empath, want someone to know, I'm feeling this way. This is why this hurt me. This is why I'm upset about it. The intellectual just wants to fix the problem, keep it moving. The empath wants you to understand why it hurts and share my feelings. These two are not always compatible. Now, there's always exceptions to the rules, so do understand that. And every human being breathing is a combination of all four of the emotional types that we're about to discuss. But just like with me, I can write with both hands. I'm ambidextrous. However, my dominant hand is my left hand. So if you were to ask me, or if you were to watch me, am I left or right-handed? clearly I would tell you left-handed, even though I can function not as well, but I can function legibly and comfortably with my right hand. Same applies to your emotional type. Everyone is a bit of a intellectual, which is our first type. Everyone has a little bit of empath in them, unless they're a sociopath, and then that's a whole different show. Everyone has a bit of a rock in them. Everyone has a bit of a gusher in them. These are the four basic emotional types. But one of these types is more dominant. One of these traits is more dominant in you. If you understand that, then you start to understand why you keep making certain choices. And it does help you because remember, from our last show, we talked about it. Either change it or accept it. But in either case, own it. So if your emotional type, for instance, is the intellectual is bright, articulate, analytical, intellectually oriented, and often takes refuge in their mind as a first line of coping. So the intellectual wants to know the facts. For instance, my wife is cheating on me. The intellectual does feel hurt. The intellectual does feel rejection. But the intellectual mostly copes with it by trying to reason out, tick out, I bought her a good house. I make good money. I let her go on vacations. I don't suffocate her. I do 1, 2, and 3. They're looking for practical reasons why their partner is cheating on them. The flip side of that is that an intellectual has issues connecting with their own feelings as well as others. They can sometimes come off as cold. It's not that it's not that they don't feel. They do. It's not that they don't hurt. They do. It's not that they can't be reliable. They usually are. It's not that they can't express their emotions. They can when they need to. The intellectual type appreciates facts over fiction, over emotion. They are kind of like the Mr. Spock of the emotional world. They have the emotions. Occasionally they come out, and a lot of times with the intellectuals, when their emotions come out like that, you better watch your ass because somebody is about to kirk off on you. But the intellectual, first and foremost, wants to find the reason why certain things aren't working out. They don't normally run to the emotional part. So if you are an intellectual type, someone who is like our next type may not be compatible for you. And our next type is the empath. Now, I kind of alluded to the empath because the empath has a tendency to be a little on the needy side. Not as much as the gusher, but they have that tendency to need affirmation. The empath is highly sensitive, is a nurturer and a giver, is very spiritually attuned. So you might find a lot of empaths very deep into religion or at least heavily spiritual. They are excellent listeners. They are helpers, friends, they're passionate, and they're sensual because they actually want their partner's enjoyment. So you have to understand an empath by nature is a giver, a healer, and a helper. That is by nature what they are, what they do, because their tendency is to feel your pain. It's not a riff on Bill Clinton. It really is how they function. They see everything through someone is hurting, someone is feeling this way. What can I do to make it better? What can I do to stop the hurt? What can I do to make it even more enjoyable? For instance, if, again, we're talking about the cheating partner. If you cheat on an empath, unlike the intellectual who wants to try and figure out what the logical excuse is for your behavior, instead of just saying a bitch is foul or a bastard's foul and kicking you to the curb, the empath, on the other hand, wants to understand what was it they weren't giving you. What was it? Did I not love you enough? Did I not hug you enough? Did I not give you enough attention? Did I not give you? What is it that I didn't give you that caused you to seek it from someone else? That is the tendency of an empath. So if you know this, empaths, again, someone who is a little less emotional, like our intellectual type, our intellectual emotional person, may not be a good fit for you. Because again, where they come off cold, they're really not. They're just being extremely practical. You come off as, damn, can you come out of your feelings for 2 seconds? Can you think reasonably? And remember, empaths are very emotional by nature because they take in everyone's emotions. Now, the flip side of that, since I got into that, is empaths have a tendency to absorb other people's negativity, which means empaths are more susceptible to other people's bullshit about them. So for instance, if I were to tell my girl Jane, damn, you're fat, even though I'm 247 pounds, yes, I own every bit of my fluffiness, but who the hell am I to tell another female that she's fat? However, if I were to say that to somebody who's by nature an empath, they would literally feel like, oh God, why would she say something like that to me? Do I really look fat in this outfit? Maybe I shouldn't eat this salad. An empath starts to pick themselves apart because someone said something to them negatively. An intellectual would say in a situation like that, okay, honey, that chair over there is kind of creaking when you sat down in it. Maybe you need to push your plate back and worry more about your waistline than mine. Again, not being sarcastic, intellectual, just, hey, 1, 2, 3, 4, let's knock this down, and you stay in your lane, I stay in mine, everybody's happy. And empath is someone who literally would take it personally. They internalize it because, again, they're all about the feelings. Our next emotional type is the rock. Now that's one, I'm gonna be honest with you, after some back and forth, that is my dominant emotional trait. So we're gonna put it out there, the good and the bad. The rock is emotionally strong for themselves and other people. And with some unfortunateness that has happened in my family, that tends to be true, that when tragedies or something dramatic happens, I'm the one that normally gets called in. The rock is practical and able to stay cool in a crisis. That is also true. And for the most part, not completely, for the most part, a rock is non-judgmental. Now, y'all know I got enough of my own dirt. I don't point fingers, but I will point out some hypocritical shit if you bring it my way. Now, people who are rocks tend to be pillars of strength. They are consistent and loyal, giving, they're respectful, and they get along with nearly everyone. Now, remember, I said nearly everyone. A rock doesn't get along with everybody, but most people, they can strike up a conversation and have some fun with. Hey, Romeo. Hey, Patrick Daniels. Y'all know I shout out my lovers on Facebook Live, and we're going to roll with it tonight. So those are the positive traits that I absolutely do own as an emotional rock. I'm also going to own the bullshit, okay? The flip side of being a rock is that they can detach their feelings quick, fast, and hurry, which means that if shit is not feeling right for me, I will cut you off in a heartbeat. Yes, I am that bitch, okay? I will work with you as much as I can, but when I've had enough, there is no I love you. There is no can we work it out. There is no look at all we've done for each other. I'm done. And a rock can be cold like that. They can cut your ass off and literally not turn back. Another downside of a rock is, yes, I'm gonna own this one too. We harbor anger and frustration. Now, it doesn't mean grudges. What it means is that we lose patience quickly for things we think are stupid, or when we think somebody is, quote unquote, a whiner. Because rocks, again, you have to remember, they're usually people who have to, in a lot of cases, mature faster, usually because of being an older child or only child, maybe because of some kind of issue with family or finances that put them in a grown-up situation far earlier than they should have been. Maybe something tragic happened and there was no one there to count on, so a rock had to step up. And that is what they've learned to depend on. So because of those traits, those very traits, I'm losing my people on Facebook Live. You know how it goes. But you were in there for half the show, so you know what the fuck to do. Come to listenvisionlive.com, finish it up. Okay, so, and also we're simulcasting on Facebook. Not tonight? Okay, so come on over to, let's do it the old fashioned way. Come on over to listenvisionlive.com. But anyway, so yes, a rock has a tendency to lose patience very quickly with people that they find to be whiners, a little weaker, people who don't have the courage to step up and do certain things because, again, a person who is an emotional rock has had, in a lot of cases, has had no choice. So they have developed that hardness. Now, it's that hardness you depend on when shit is falling apart because they're the ones that you can go to give you the honest talk, who will knock out a plan for you and get shit done. The flip side is if you keep whining about the same damn shit, where the empath will silly feel your pain and be the one to pet you up, where the intellectual might say, okay, these are the things that you're doing wrong. Maybe we can look at this to help you do it right. The rock will say, grow the fuck up. Everybody goes through some shit. Grow up, step up, or shut up. A rock has very little patience for certain things. So a lot of sympathy, no, you're not going to get from a rock. Some ride or die, somebody who's by your side, yes, you'll get that. Also, what I've had to admit to, because I'm on the positive, I'm on the bad side too, and that I really feel recently really applies to me. Rocks don't like a lot of conflict. They won't run from a fight. They can finish one, but rocks will cut you off. And I don't mean just emotionally, I mean period. Rocks are known to do that. When they have had enough, they have had enough. Now, here's the problem with that. Maybe my intolerance for something is the wrong decision to make. Maybe what I should be doing is being a little more empathic. Maybe I should be a little more intellectual about what you're feeling and what you're going through. But when a rock feels like someone is not standing up for themselves, is not taking a chance on themselves, when they're constantly leaning on you, it gets to be draining. And once a rock gets to that trigger, that point, they're done. And there's very little back and forth with that. The last main emotional type before we go into the break, and Lordy, I have a couple of people in my life that really are these. They're the gusher. The gusher is someone who everybody knows how you are feeling emotionally. They are spontaneous. They are, of all the types, they're the most authentic because they're always upfront about how they feel. They don't play games. If they're pissed off with you, they're pissed off and they want you to know it. If they love you wholeheartedly, they want you to know it. If you don't mean shit to them, you don't mean shit to them and they want you to know that too. But you see the trend. A gusher always wants you to know how they're feeling. They don't like to keep shit bottled in. They want everybody to know how they feel. They want to get it off their chest and be done with it. Gushers are very spontaneous. They don't need to plan shit. They're the type that you want to roll with at a party. A gusher's the type to say, hey, that shit looks like fun. Come on, bitches, let's do this. A gusher is one of those. A gusher actually is a very social person. They like to be in the middle of shit. Some of the best positives are they're emotionally articulate. Again, you know how they feel. They're easily forgiving. Once they get shit off their chest, they're willing to give you a shot. They make very good friends and they keep friends for long times. And they value intimate relationships, meaning that where other emotional types can have sex and be in love and two separate things and sometimes two or three separate people, a gusher connects the two. For a gusher, intimacy and emotion are not casual things. So they need one in order to have the other. Now, nothing wrong with that. But here's the flip side of a gusher. Gushers are the neediest of all four types. Gushers, and I kid you not, I'm reading this exactly from Mental Health Today. Gushers tend to be a drama king or queen, may turn friends into therapists, seek external feedback rather than relying on their own intuition, and excessively need to share. Now, what do we mean? We mean, bitch, sometimes I don't need to know all this shit. Sometimes you need to just keep it to yourself. I don't want to be drawn into your damn drama. But a gusher has to involve other people. Because now remember, where an empath wants to help and heal everybody, the gusher wants everybody to know, I hurt. I need to be healed. I need more hugging. I need more kissing. I need. Again, a gusher's cool people to have. They're great friends. They take their friendships seriously and they nurture them. Those are the best parts of a gusher. But like I said, with a gusher, you will always know, whether you want to know it or not, how they're feeling. And with a gusher, again, they use their friends and their family members as therapists, because gushers don't always have the confidence in themselves to make the decisions they need to make. They also need a lot of reaffirmation. Now, some don't need it as much as others, because remember, everybody's a mix of each. But gushers need constant reinforcement that they're loved, constant reinforcement that you care, constant reinforcement that you're thinking about them. Gushers are the ones that can drain the hell out of you. So gushers do not work well with rocks or intellectuals, because we're just too fucking cold for you. We're too practical for you. We lose patience with nonsense quicker. However, gushers are very good with empaths, because where a gusher is needy, an empath needs to be needed. Remember, empaths need to heal. They need to help. Empath is that guy who's so much of a man, he thinks that his woman shouldn't do anything, that he should be able to provide everything for her. So having a strong, independent woman who pays her own bills and looks at a man helping her in certain ways is a weakness on her part. It's going to cause some conflict, because emotionally the two of you are not compatible. However, a intellectual type could get along very well with that type of woman, because he's like, okay, she's strong about paying her bills. She's doing this. She's doing that. Okay, maybe we can sit down and talk about how we can make our wallets bigger. Maybe we can sit down and talk about how we can increase whatever it is we want to increase. We can work out a plan together. So remember, your emotional type tells you a lot about what it is in a relationship that you are seeking. And with that, we're going to take one more break and we'll be back in one. Welcome back, lovers. I'm the Naughty Scribe, and once again, you've tuned into the Nyce Naughtie Hour. Well, tonight's topic has been about emotional awareness and maturity that leads to good and great sex. Now, we've talked about the four emotional types, which are our intellectual emotional type, our gusher, which is on the total opposite end. We talked about our rock, and we talk about our empath. And remember, you have to be able to identify which is your dominant emotional type. Remember, everyone is a mixture of all of these main types. No one is just a rock. No one is just an empath. No one is just intellectual or practical. No one is just a gusher. But there is one of these traits that is more dominant, the one you fall back on the most. And this is what will dictate to you what you will look for in a relationship. Why is this good to understand? Let's run through it real quick. If you are a needy person, you are always, or a gusher, you are always in some way, shape, or form looking for someone else to validate you, looking for someone else to prove that you have worth. So in an intimate relationship, you are most likely to do things intimately that maybe you really don't want to do. You are more inclined to do whatever you think the other person wants you to do in order for them to validate you. That makes you easy to be used, because once I've had my fun with you, I'm not validating you. I'm walking away. I got mine. Hoped you got yours. Gushers set themselves up like that. So what they need to do is pull out the inner intellectual and ask themselves, wait a minute, why am I so willing to go to these extra lengths for this person? They don't feel me that way. And a lot of times gushers, you can be in a little bit of denial. Someone can tell you to your face, I'm not into you like that. And you still chase after them because you think that if you love them hard enough, long enough, or unconditionally enough, they'll return it eventually and validate you. Then you don't understand why, once again, you've been used and abused. Because again, you are looking for someone else to validate you, and you are using sex, money, and emotions, because sometimes we do it not with people we're having sex with or supporting. We do it with people whose approval we want. So when they're down and out, whenever they're in trouble, gushers are the first ones to their aid. Gushers want to do whatever they can to prove to them, hey, I'm worth having in your life because I got your back no matter what. Gushers don't always stop to see if someone actually has their back. So remember, your emotional type is a big indicator as to what you're looking for in a relationship. And it's important to know that, because if you know what your emotional type is, you are in a better position to see the wrong type when it comes your way. Okay, with that said, we're going to jump into our next segment, our flag on a play. Thank you. And I didn't even have to say do it twice. Yay! We're going to talk about the different types of love. Because again, you can't talk about your emotional maturity and your emotional awareness if you don't know what type of love it is you're looking for. Now, first is the basic one, the physical love. How much are we attracted to each other? Do we want the same amount of physical affection? So remember, physical love is about, first and foremost, do you do it for me? Do you intrigue me? Do you pique me sexually when I see you? Are you someone I go, damn, I could push up on that, okay? Like our little Sammy, okay, with her little cute self. So you have to look at her. If you saw the last show, you know she's a cutie pie, but she's taken, just so you know. But that said, sorry if I put something out there I shouldn't have, but what the hell? But anyway, but again, physical love is the type where we're looking for how much kissing. Do we want the same amount of cuddling, kissing, holding, and are we physically attracted to each other? So there's two parts of physical love. It's the physical attraction and it's the actual physical touching, hugging, kissing, whatever. Not the sex part. It's the physical affection, because that is part of loving too. The next part is, of course, what everybody wants, the sexual love. Sexual love is how compatible are our sex drives? Okay, now sexual love is, hey, I need it every day, every minute of the day, every second of the day, 7 days a week, 365 a year, okay? 66 if it's a leap year. So a sister got a high sex drive. Therefore, if you're the type of person that just needs to knock it out for a good 5 or 6 hours once every month, and that's good for you, maybe we ain't gonna get along too well, boo-boo. Not unless you bring in a couple of friends to the party. That's all I'm saying. But Understand your sexual love. What type of sexual love do you need? Everybody can't be swinging on the chandeliers. I'm sorry. And everybody is not compatible that way. Someone with a strong sex drive can actually be very happy with someone who gives them a lot of a different type of love, as long as there's an understanding and a meeting of the mind that you still feed my sexual hunger, but you also feed other things as well. Emotional love, again, I have had someone say this to me, and until I actually experienced it, I thought it was bullshit. But you can actually fall emotionally in love with someone you have never touched, you have actually never met in person. Emotional love has a lot to do, and we talked about this in another show, about how important it is to be honest in sharing your emotions with each other and listening to each other. Because before you fuck my body, you must make love to my mind. And part of that is my emotions. If you are in tune to how I'm feeling, doesn't mean you have to cater to every little boo-hoo moment I have. But if I feel emotionally secure with you, if I feel that you're someone I can trust my heart with, my feelings with, if I feel that you're someone who won't abuse the trust that I'm giving you, I can be a freaky bitch, because all bets are off. And a lot of men and women are that way. We don't spend enough time with each other securing the emotional love that we should have for each other. Because again, you'd be surprised at how freaky your partner can be once they know that they are secure, that you are not going to abuse or take advantage of the feelings that they clearly have for you. Once somebody is secure in that, I promise you, they're game for a lot of shit. Because with that emotional love is a lot of trust. And if I have that with you, there's very little that I don't feel I can't do with you. So remember, emotional love is important. But there are also a couple of others in that top 6 that matter. Intellectual. How important is intellectual stimulation? Now, some of y'all say it's bullshit. Really? Some of the biggest players today are the geeks. They're the tech boys. They're the game designers. They're the software designers. They're the astrophysicists. They're the mathematicians. And a lot of people think, oh, well, those are nerdy jobs. No, these motherfuckers are ruling the world. And they're cute. But here's the thing. Have you ever heard a woman say, how did you end up with, your girl say, how did you end up with him? And she says, he makes me laugh. That is intellectual love. I'm one of those people that love someone who is well-read and can have an intelligent conversation with me. As a writer, when I hear certain phrases used the wrong way, it jumps out at me. And I don't mean to be snotty or snobbish about it, but I will tell you, one of my pet peeves is when I hear someone say scenario when they mean situation. It just jumps out at me. No, honey, you weren't acting out a scene. That was not the situation. But I digress. There are certain things that jump out at you. So for me, you don't have to have a bachelor's. But if you're using big words to impress me because you think that'll get you somewhere, the second I hear you using words in the wrong manner, I already know that you're full of shit, that you maybe looked up a couple words up in the thesaurus and you're throwing them around and you don't have any idea what they mean. One of the best relationships I had was with someone who didn't even graduate high school. He was very plain spoken, but whatever the fuck he said is what he meant, and he could carry on an intelligent conversation. Remember, intelligent conversation is not how big and fancy the words are. It's how deeply felt the words you use are meant. The next love type is practical love. Now, I know that doesn't sound sexy, but it actually is the basis for all the love you'll ever have in your life, because practical love basically means how well do we work well together? How well do we get along? Let's make sure that we even like each other before we talk about some other shit. And why is that important? Some of my older people understand where I'm going with this. You can have sex with someone you're physically attracted to, but you cannot have a relationship with someone you're only sexually attracted to. If this motherfucker can't get up anymore, if you go into menopause and you lose that drive for a hot couple of years, We don't have shit going on. But if I like you, if we can work together, if we have other interests, if there's other practical things that bind us together, we can have practical love to ride it out until the sexual romantic love is more practical, or we can find other ways to deal with it. But practical love will be the basis of holding on to the rest of the shit. Now, our last love, which I found interesting that a lot of ballers have it. It's called spiritual love. Spiritual love is that you and I have a firm and similar belief in a higher being or a higher purpose. Now, again, I didn't say it was just a higher being. For instance, if you have someone whose God is their sport, who God is their training to achieve a certain goal, they have sacrificed for this goal. They want to be MPV with the bullets. They want to get into the Olympics. They have sacrificed physical love. They have sacrificed sexual love. They have sacrificed emotional love. They have put it all on the line for what they're doing. And then they meet you. You cannot expect for them to start feeding all the other emotional types and all the other loves that you have when you knew that this person was dedicated to this. Now, can they switch over to that? Yes, but they must reach their goal first. Same thing with spiritual love. And the flip side is women. When women dedicate themselves to a higher being, whether it's Buddha, whether it's Jehovah, or whoever, Muhammad, once a woman dedicates herself to that higher love, that spiritual love, everything else is secondary. Mate, family, children, love you dearly. But if you ask me to choose between the love of my God and the love of my man or my woman, you're going to lose out. This is where I have dedicated myself to. So someone who is saved gets along better with someone who is saved of a similar religion because they understand the sacrifices the other one is willing to make. And then they don't put themselves in situations where expecting things they should not. So again, our basic types of love are physical love, sexual love, emotional love, intellectual love, practical love, and spiritual love. And remember, in order to have a great sex life, you need to know what your emotional type is, what you want out of a relationship, what you're seeking, and the type of love that you really need to make you happy. So with that, my lovers, I want you to think hard and long about what you really want in life. And remember, don't let life happen to you. You happen to life. And remember, life's also nicer when it's naughty. With that, good night.